I want to talk today about attention. I think oftentimes it's easy to feel completely overwhelmed by social media, by the news, by the texts, by the phone calls, the nonstop onslaught of things that are trying to distract us. And for me, it sometimes feels like I'm just helpless drinking from the fire hose. Like, this is just the way of the world. And that my attention has to be pulled in all these different directions. And one of the things that I have learned through my reparenting journey, and I've tried to integrate more fully in my life, is an understanding that I get to choose what I pay attention to. It seems very simple to say that, but it's a very powerful thought. That I get to direct my attention to the things that matter most to me. And I can choose not to pay attention to the things that bring me stress, bring me anxiety, that have no bearing on my life, and that don't deserve my attention. Our attention is, in some ways, the most valuable currency we have. You would not go to a store, open up your wallet, and just spend needlessly on all sorts of crap. But that is how many of us spend our attention. What you pay attention to shapes who you are. It shapes what you think. It shapes your entire world. And there are times in my life where I have been just so wasteful with my attention. We get to choose. We get to choose what warrants our attention. I had this moment the other day where I was perseverating on something, and this part of me was coming forward with all this anxiety, just this constant worry about this thing that I knew logically I didn't need to worry about. My loving parent came forward in that moment and said, I do not want to think about this. And it's not always easy. It's not always a matter of just flipping it off and deciding to give our attention to something else. Sometimes we can't get out of the grips of anxiety or sadness or frustration or whatever it is. And it's not about stuffing these things down and not paying attention to things that do warrant our attention. But it's about making a conscious effort and saying, I get to choose. I sometimes think of the overlap between what deserves our attention and what we can actually control. The irony in our lives is that there is so little that is actually in our control, and yet so much that gets our attention. I liken it to being behind the wheel of a car, which is a very apt analogy because when you think about actually the act of driving, there are so few things that are actually within your control. You can only control how you are showing up, how you are driving, how you are, how fast you are going, what lane you are driving in. And yet the things that grab our attention are everything else that everyone else is doing. How crappy it is that this person is not going faster or is driving so slow in the fast lane. Or how this other person is driving like a maniac and weaving in and out of traffic. And none of that has anything to do with us. And honestly does not warrant our attention. The same is true for life. There's so many things that come up that provoke anger and frustration and outrage. And we let them have our attention. And we don't need to. We shouldn't. For our own peace of mind. This has obviously shades of kind of mindfulness and being present in the moment, because the more conscientious you are about where to put your attention, the more that you will find that you can be present in the moment and appreciate the things that you are experiencing because you are choosing to pay attention to them. You are not being hit with this tidal wave of distraction. You get to choose. So as you look forward to tomorrow, this weekend, next week, think about opportunities that you have to make a conscious decision to choose what you pay attention to. That could be something as simple as you have breakfast in the morning and you decide not to pick up your phone. Stay present in that moment. Give your attention, your full attention, to having that moment in the morning. The more that you build in these conscious moments of focusing your attention, the more they will become second nature. As with everything with the reparenting work, as I've said before, we work on these things in small ways throughout our days with a lot of intention so that we build the muscle and then it becomes part of who we are. Be intentional with your intention in the days ahead, and I think you will be so surprised at what comes out of that. So surprised at the peace you can have when you decide not to pay attention to the things that don't serve you and to focus on the things that matter. I'm so glad that you're here on this journey. I thank you for your practice. I thank you for your attention. And I'll see you back here next time.